series. We have the next topic is on demonetization and its impact on doctors and how ophthalmologists can prepare themselves. So I hope it will be an interesting group discussion sort of a thing, because this is a topic for which we are all almost equally unprepared. So I invite you all to attend this session and share your thoughts on the impact of demonetization on the medical fraternity.
Very good afternoon. May I request all the delegates to please take their seats. Today we are here to talk about one of the most important movement after the independence, known as demonetization. This is known as Vimudrikaran in Hindi. So what is demonetization and how we should prepare and how we should go as cashless? This is the need of the hour, and we are here to address the issue. I invite Dr. Mayank Agrawal to come on the dais. Dr. Mayank Agrawal also spoke about this topic during the JOS meeting. Now I would like to invite Dr. Vidushi, and she will be talking about the demonetization in detail. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, like the topic was introduced, this is one of the biggest policy decisions in India that we have seen in our lifetime. And basically, demonetization means that we strip a currency unit of its value as a legal tender. So this currency stops being legal tender for exchange of value in the country from the particular announcement. Now, how should doctors deal with demonetization? Now, this is a political as well as an economic debate. The politics of it is controversial. The debate on whether it is good or bad for the country and the economy and the political implications, they are a subject of debates, and it is something that does not concern us as doctors in our day-to-day work, and only time will tell whether this is good or bad. But when it comes to the effect of demonetization on doctors, then we all have to be prepared for it. So what was the background? The background of demonetization was the stated objectives at that time when it was announced were to reduce black money, to tackle counterfeit currency, and to stop the use of fake currency and or black money in anti-national activities, terrorism, etc. Of course, there will always be an element of political objectives as well, and people have tried to stipulate that it wasn't viewed to the state elections that were coming up. But the reality now is that we also have a new set of objectives, changing objectives, like cashless transactions, transparency in financial dealings, widening of the tax base. So while the earlier objectives of reducing black money, etc., may not be very easily achievable, but these changing objectives, cashless transactions and transparency in financial dealings, they are definitely coming up, and they are more achievable than the original objectives of the demonetization policy. So the current status is that, first of all, it is a big achievement that demonetization could be carried out all over India, and it could be done in such a wide and diverse country so smoothly. This whole process shows the resilience of our people to new changes, and it also shows that drastic decisions like an overnight demonetization can be taken and probably will be taken in the future. So this is a wake-up call for all of us to put our house in order and not continue with the chalta hai attitude that we have been continuing with for the last so many years. And it is also now very clear that this demonetization is not just a temporary exercise, but there will be follow-through measures to ensure that whatever benefits were aimed are passed on, and so there will be more policy changes like putting a focus on cashless transactions, putting incentives on cashless transactions, etc. So what concerns us as doctors in our day-to-day practice is cashless transactions. The benefits of cashless transactions are that there is a widening of the tax base. Cashless transactions are easy, convenient, and there is no need to carry cash. But there is a risk of frauds that people are scared of. Cyber security is a real threat. Though increased security features that are now being incorporated with mobile passwords, one-time passwords, etc., this risk is decreasing. Every cashless transaction done through a card or a mobile app, etc., incurs additional transaction charges. And in a country like India with so much illiteracy and poor infrastructure, this move to cashless transactions obviously has to be a slow process, cannot be done overnight. So whether this proves to be good, bad or ugly for the country, this time will tell. Now when it comes to India, there is a thrust on Make in India now. So the cashless revolution is spearheaded by the NPCI, or the National Payments Corporation of India, which is an organization of the government. Mr. Narayan Murthy was the past chairman, and it has stalwarts among its board of directors. And NPCI has come with many made in India solutions to the cashless transactions problem unique for our country. So one of them is the UPI, or the Unified Payments Interface. The benefit of UPI is that every bank had its own wallet or its own mobile app. And so the government has tried to bring all these wallets and all these mobile apps of different banks together so that the consumer can have one interface and can do bank-to-bank transactions. So Unified Payments Interface is a collection where under which one umbrella all the banks have been brought together. Now BHIM is the Bharat Interface for Money, which was launched in December last year, and this is based on the UPI system. Incidentally, this was designed by a team of young people about 25, 30 years of age within 3 weeks. So this BHIM is also an evolution over the UPI system, which brings in the banks together and allows interbank transactions. Then the NPCI has also started AEPS, or Aadhaar Enabled Payment System. This is to bring about cashless transactions into the rural areas also, where you only need an Aadhaar card and the bank that is linked to that particular Aadhaar card. So you don't have to have a mobile app, etc. You can do the dealings with the Aadhaar card only. And because the Aadhaar card has a fingerprint database, so this can be used by many other organizations. Then we have the NPCI has also pushed the RuPay cards. Now RuPay stands for basically rupee payment. So RuPay cards, debit cards have been launched by many banks, the RuPay debit cards, and RuPay credit cards are also being started by 1 or 2 banks. So now India is the 6th country in the world to have its own card payment system after 5 other countries, basically Japan, Singapore, US, etc. So we don't have a monopoly of the foreign cards like the MasterCard, Visa, and the American Express. Now we have our own platform for credit card and debit card payments also in the form of RuPay. And naturally, when the transactions and processing is being done within the country, the transaction costs also come down with the RuPay cards. Then there is a service called *99#. This is an unstructured supplementary service data channel, which again can also be used by people who do not have smartphones. So this particular service brings together the banks as well as the telecom service providers. And you can try with any of the phones. If you dial this number *99#, even if you have not requested your banks per se, whatever bank accounts which have your mobile number, that particular mobile number will come up when you dial this number. So you can choose the account and you can do quite a few transactions through this particular number. And we obviously can be proud of the fact that these are all made in India solutions which have been worked out by the NPCI. And now this is a very evolving field. They come up with new features every now and then. So the main impact on doctors is that there is an increasing pressure for cashless payments, which is going to be increasing in the near future, that payments, cashless payments should be provided for. It is a rumor right now, but may even become mandatory to have options and to give the patient a choice whether he wants to pay by cash or through cashless payments. So when there are so many changes around us, the best thing is to be prepared for these changes so that you can face them head on. Now, this is the demonetization and the cashless payments, but along with these, there are related developments also. For example, it is obvious now that the insurance payments are bound to grow, not just because the private insurance companies are promoting the insurance plans, but every state has its own health insurance schemes which have been linked to private hospitals. So like earlier you had the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana. Now different states have come up with their own yojana, like the Bhamasha system in the Rajasthan government, and different states have similar schemes. So this insurance payment is also bound to increase, and we have to be prepared for the paperwork that is involved with all this. Another related development is that salary to staff is slowly being made mandatory to be paid through the banks. So as of now, the rule that has come up, or the bill that has been passed in Parliament, is only to enable the states to direct specified industries to make this compulsory. But there is also a move that any payments to staff above rupees 10,000 should be made through the banks or through checks. This, the government hopes, will ensure that there is a good compliance with the labor laws like the PF, ESI, the Minimum Wages Act, etc. And there is also a focus on the pricing of the surgeries that we charge. So we've recently seen 2-3 days ago that the prices of stents have been slashed down significantly, and this may impact all the fields of medical practice, including ophthalmology, because intraocular lens are also obviously implants. So there may be a move in the future, and we need to be prepared for these things well in advance. So what are the cashless payment systems for clinics? You can have checks, you can have NEFT, RTGS, IMPS, these are things we are all aware of. Most of the doctor medical fraternity is very comfortable with the idea of making payments through all these systems, but they are not yet very comfortable with the idea of receiving payments from patients through these systems. And then we have the point of sale or electronic data capture or quad swipe machines. We have the USSSD that I talked about, the Unified Payment Interface, Aadhaar-enabled payment system, e-wallets, and other apps, mobile apps like Paysalon. So the most popular and the most widely used across the board is the point of sale machine or the swipe machine. This is also called EDC or the electronic data capture machine. It is, in our country, as of now, it is most commonly installed through the banks. And the banks either install it free or they have very minimum charges, per month charges for installing these swipe machines on your premises. You need a current account with that particular bank, which should have a basic minimum turnover. And the transaction charges per transaction vary from 0.75% to 1.8 or even 2%. The credit cards cost almost twice as much as debit cards, and it may also depend on the amount of transaction that is carried out. You need to sign an agreement with the bank, and many of these banks will specify that the transaction charges per card should not be passed on to the customer. So when we buy electronics, etc., sometimes we often see that the vendor adds that 1.8% to the bill. But most of the agreements with the banks will have a specific clause saying that this transaction charge per debit or per credit card should not be passed on to the consumer. So when you read it's a long agreement, but you should make sure that this particular thing that you are signing, and if you sign it, then you must follow that these charges are not passed on to the consumer. So how to choose which swipe machine? By default, it will be the bank where you have your current account. But do inquire about the website and the ease of handling the card business online. So, well, most of us are comfortable with doing online banking, but when you have a swipe machine of a particular bank, then you have to register yourself as a merchant on their merchant website. And the provisions like cancelling a card payment or to refund the amount, etc., can be done through the website. Right now, with the sudden rush in the cashless payments, many of these websites are not working very optimally. So it is a good idea to make inquiries about the website working of these particular banks and swipe machines so that the service that is provided by the banks is good. So ultimately, you have to choose a bank and a swipe machine which will give you good service, and that will naturally be the bank with which you have a good relationship. So what are the point of sale machines? There are basically 3 types of POS machines that are available. The one that is still the most commonly used is the physical POS, where you swipe your card through the machine, and this is normally linked to a public switch telephone network like a landline, mostly BSNL. And many banks would also say that the installation would be free if it is linked to a BSNL line or a fixed telephone line. Then you have the mobile POS. These are now coming up, and there are different companies which have a mobile card reader. So basically you have this sort of a, can I have a pointer? So you have this sort of a card reader, like this particular shape. These are provided by various companies. This particular company is M-Swipe, but you also have mobile card readers from Square, from Google, etc. And these card reader companies will also have their own mobile apps for receiving payment. So you just can plug it in the earphone slot. Most of these will go into the earphone slot of the mobile phone, and then you can download their particular app and do transactions via this. And the other thing that is now coming up is virtual POS, which is through a QR code or a quick response code, the like that we have on our badges here. This is a quick response code. So you don't need a card reader or anything. You just sort of coordinate with your bank to get your own QR code. And the patient will come and scan that particular QR code that you have with his or her mobile phone and make the payment. Now, in India, these are just starting, but all these POS systems can be integrated with many other functions like inventory management, customer relations, accounting, etc., which is done in big departmental stores. So this is the physical POS that we are all familiar with. And like I've already stated, that the requirements for the getting this physical POS terminal installed are through your bank as of now. This is the mobile POS. You can plug in the mobile POS in the earphone slot, and then you can swipe the card in this card reader and download their particular app. And then there are the virtual POS, where you have a QR code. And so this also provides greater secrecy. You don't have to disclose your bank details. Neither the doctor nor the patient has to disclose their bank details. And the payment can be done by scanning the QR code. And then BHIM, that I already talked about. Then we have checks. Checks are, of course, legal tender, will always be legal tender, and there are no charges on checks, so there are no additional charges incurred, but the payment is realized after 2 to 3 days. So there is always a risk that the check may bounce, but with the strict provisions in the IPC, etc., you can even be arrested for a check being bounced. So this risk is decreasing. And I think if you have a lot of check payments in your practice, it will be a good idea to put up notice boards or information regarding these IPC provisions, so that the patients are discouraged from, they are very serious that they give you checks which will not bounce in the future. Then we have NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer. This can be done through the bank or through online banking. It takes 24 hours. You need few hours to few days time to register the beneficiary. You have the RTGS, or real-time gross settlements. This can be done online or through bank. There is no limit of transaction. Then you have IMPS, which is the immediate payment system. There is no need to register the beneficiary beforehand, and it is easy through mobile banking. Then you have the bank cards. We've already talked about them. Bank cards can be prepaid cards, which you can keep loading from your bank. These are just like mobile recharge, and they provide a lot of security because you can only have a limited amount in that prepaid card, and you can use it anywhere without a risk of losing a large amount of money. Then debit cards, which are linked to your bank accounts, and credit cards. So these have their own advantages. And then we have the unstructured supplementary service data. We have this *99 hash service, which can be used to transfer money. We have the Aadhaar enabled payment system. These are the steps for AEPS transaction. These are all available on the NPCI website, so you can look through them. And of course, you will have to contact your bank for them. Now, the good thing about the Aadhaar is that there is something called the UIDAI office, which shares the fingerprint scanning, just verifies, doesn't share any data, but verifies the fingerprint scanning. So this is how you have the Geo cards and everybody who can use fingerprint scanning through the Aadhaar cards. And so I'll not go through the details of all of this. This is the website for the NPCI. And then you have different e-wallets of different banks. Every bank is coming up with their own e-wallet and a mobile app. This is also, you can download the apps. But the problem with these e-wallets was that every bank had its own e-wallet, so that is why the government came up with the UPI system, which is a unified system for using all these. Just one second. Where is the pen drive? Can I have that pen drive, please? Now, this is the RuPay credit cards and debit cards that I talked about. So these are things, these are happening in our country. These are made in India, and we should be aware. This was a designed, meaning rupee payments, and these are colors taken from a flag. These arrows show a country on the move in cashless transactions. And the banks have also indigenized the design of these cards. So you have State Bank coming up with this Indian woman, and you have the Air Force with the tricolor formation. So these are all indigenous, made in India solutions to our cashless problems. And there are many other future strategies, like the government has asked the RuPay, Visa and MasterCard to come up with an interoperable QR code, so that the different banks have the same, different credit card companies have the same QR code. In fact, I just read that the government is going to release something called the India QR, which is a unified QR code on Monday itself, which will be launched by the Prime Minister. And just one second. So these are all various developments that are taking place. Then we have something called Paysilin. Now, Paysilin is, there are many mobile apps for receiving payments. Paysilin is something specifically designed for doctors. Only verified, registered doctors can be a part of this Paysilin network to receive payments. You don't have to share your bank details. You don't even have to have a swipe machine for this. And a URL can be auto-generated, which can be sent either through WhatsApp or Facebook or any other internet service to the patient. The patient can click on that particular URL and the payment can be linked to your bank account. This Paysilin also has inbuilt medico-legal provisions, so it has all those things written at the end which are for medico-legal protection, and there are terms for payment to accept so that it takes care of your medico-legal problems also. This is taken from the Paysilin website. These are the advantages that they offer, and this has been downloaded by many doctors since the demonetization came up as a quick and efficient way to receive cashless payments, because after the demonetization there was a sudden surge in the demand for point-of-sale machines also. So like we already had a point-of-sale machine, but we went for a second one. It has not come up in 3 months because there is such a huge backlog for delivering. So this Paysilin has come up as a big boon for doctors. This is also an opportunity for big innovators. Some hospitals have gone for having their own mobile apps. So for example, if you're an ABC Eye hospital, you can get somebody to design an ABC Eye hospital app which your patients can download on their mobile, and this app can do give all info about the practice, doctors. It can schedule appointments, give follow-ups, etc., and also receive payments and accept payments for surgery as well as for consultations. This I've already said. There are many future strategies. So to conclude, cashless payments may slow down now with the availability of the new notes as they are printed more and more and the currency is more available, but they are definitely going to grow at a steady, slow pace in the near future. This is an emerging market. Too many options are available right now. Some of them will die a natural death and some of them will become more popular. So we must get acquainted with the cashless payment systems and train 2 or 3 staff so that the staff can also keep check on each other, not just one staff. And the most important thing is that while big corporate hospitals already have many provisions for these things, it is time that the smaller hospitals and clinics also work up and are not left behind in this huge revolution that has come across in our country. Thank you so much. And I would also like to acknowledge the help of Dr. Mayank Agrawal, Dr. Abhishek Kothari, and Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vidushi. Now we have Dr. Mayank Agrawal with us. And Dr. Mayank is the treasurer of Jaipur Ophthalmological Society, Rajasthan Ophthalmological Society, and he has a lot of experience about the cashless transaction. We also have Dr. Rupal Saab with us. I will request Dr. Rupal to come and, okay, please come and participate in the discussion. So now
you can share your thoughts from there itself if you want.
And now Dr. Mayank Agrawal is going to share his experience about the cashless transaction.
Going cashless is the need of the hour. And we all doctors are basically very poor in financial management and all. So handling cash is not always easy for us as well. Because we are so involved in our clinical activities that we often forget to take regular audits and to reconcile the data that what we are actually earning and what that hard-earned money, where it is going. And that money is not growing. See, cashless transactions always has an intensity, something of black money generation in it. Because if you are dealing in cash, then if you wish it or not, some amount of black money will be generated. And that black money goes into our lockers and that doesn't grow. People are normally afraid of paying taxes. But tax is a pie of cake. It's just a 30% tax that the government is having, but 70% still with you. And that 70%, if it is into the banks, it will grow over a period of time. Say if I earn 100 rupees and I pay 30 rupees to the government and 70 rupees is left with me. So after 5 years, those 70% of the money will automatically be generating new interests and some value addition to it, and it will become 115 or 120. If I keep that 100 rupees as a black money, that won't grow anymore. The prices and the inflation in India is growing day by day. So we have to take care of that inflation as well. Our money, whatever we are earning, should grow. at a rate of not less than 10%, because inflation rate is none less than 8.5 to 9% in any of the recent last 10 years time. So paying taxes is the best thing. You will have a good sleep at the night, mental peace, and you are contributing to the growth of our country. Secondarily, if everything is cashless and everything is accounted, then you will really know that how much we are earning, and that helps you in upgradation of your establishment and new technologies you can purchase. If you are dealing in cash, none of the companies is accepting any cash. They all want a cashless transaction or white money. 2-3 points I would like to mention, like e-wallets and Paytm transactions are very common nowadays. One thing, there is one feature that if there is a Paytm in your mobile and if you don't exit at the end of the transaction, all your data remains saved there. So always exit your Paytm app once you have done the transaction. Because see, if Paytm is available in my mobile and somebody asks for a call, okay, sir, give me your mobile to make a call, within 20 seconds, that guy can transfer all your Paytm money into his account, and there will be no tracking of it. You cannot retrieve it back, because cybercrime is going to increase, and there are very few facilities in India with the cyber police, and there are not such departments even in Jaipur. There is a guy who is barely literated in Jaipur city. I have come across one cybercrime, barely literated in cybercrime, and he is the in charge of that cyber police station. So going cashless is good, but you have to be very careful. Never share your bank passwords, bank account number, your date of birth, your mother's maiden name. These are some sensitive informations which you should never share on any phone calls. Do not reply any of the emails. Particularly, there are emails coming from RBI directly. Never reply on those emails. Those are all hacking mails. These credit cards, I think that the government should reduce the transaction charges so that these things come into play. As Dr. Vidushi has clearly mentioned, that we cannot overcharge the transaction charges with the patient. These charges has to be borne by the merchant only. So if you are charging extra, then it's a legal liability because you are breaching the agreement. It's a legal liability. Want to add something, Dr. Suresh?
Thank you very much, Dr. Mayank, for sharing the pearls of wisdom for going cashless transaction. Now I would like to request Dr. Rupal if you want to add something, ma'am. Okay.
Any questions? Any questions from the audience?
Field where all of us are equally less knowledgeable, so anybody has anything to add? I would just say that all these mobile apps and e-wallets and Paytm, etc. are still in their infancy. The trusted system as of now is the point of sale machine, which has less chances of security breaches. So I think that is the first thing. Most of the doctors here would probably be having one, and that is what the patients are also comfortable using. And as for training the staff, sometimes we are a little skeptical whether the staff will be able to handle all these things. In my experience, I have seen that the staff picks up these things much faster than us. And they don't have to know what is a QR code, how it is generated. They just have to know how to put the barcode reader or the barcode scanner right in front of the QR code and push some buttons on the machine, and that most of the staff can pick up doing. So it is good to train at least 2-3 staff, because that way you will not have a monopoly of one person, and that particular staff doing some hanky-panky is also reduced. So at least train 3-4 staff, they pick up very easily, much faster than us. And as of now, point of sale machine is the most trusted.
I agree. That is the best thing.
Yeah, good. So thank you once again for all the participants of this session on demonetization and its preparation among ophthalmologists. Now we will be having Hoya session soon. So thank you once again, Dr. Mayank, and thank you everyone for your participation.